Hey.
Yo. Let me get the thing set up. Okay. Then your link. This is mid, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Echo is your mid lane opponent, right? Assuming that everyone connects. Echo's your
Yeah.
opponent. Oh God. Echo is like pretty good laner. If he manages to catch you off guard, he will pressure you immensely. Alright, let's see how this plays out. There, should be able to get the level 1. You should get... Oh, first you have to watch for invade. That's Battle Blast Blitzcrank. Okay. Skins,
Um,
man.
you're not sharing,
Uh,
by the way.
huh?
You're not sharing screen, by the way.
Oh, Jesus. Alright, we good? See it?
Yep.
Okay. Right now it's just loading screen. You guys have... Oh, never mind. That's a top... you guys have a lot of frontliners. You're gonna need a... Hope that somebody builds a righteous glory this game because you're gonna need to. Your team is heavily based on the front line, and you are gonna look for engages. If it's not Bard that stuns or Jax that stuns or Rengar that leaps, it's gonna be on you to charm. In theory, that means that you can max charm second. It doesn't mean that you should max charm second. It just means that there's a possibility, a good chance that maxing charm second would be the right option. Maxing charm second would actually give you a lot of benefits too, because the charm lasts longer. It's like a longer form of disable, so it's pretty nice. That's and you get that going for you, which is pretty cool. Alright, let's see how this plays out. Ring, 2 pots, standard. You're running 2109, right?
Yep.
Okay. Blitzcrank. Standard rule. Watch every side of the map. Or not every not like a 5-point guard, but yep. There it is.
Do you
So
want
now
me to read out
you
my
can
mid runes?
huh?
Do you want me to read out my mid runes?
Yeah.
I think it's 9 magic pen marks,
Uh-huh.
3 AP quints,
Okay.
and then the rest standard.
What do you mean by standard actually? You have to
9 armor yellows
uh-huh.
and 9 magic resist blues.
Alright, so that's not that's less of being standard, that's more of the defensive page. See, every like mid laners tend to run health per level yellows now, so as that has become the standard rather than armor, and they would actually opt for armor with armor per level if they're running against an AD mid. And of course, the glyphs, the blues, are cooldown production per level because every mid laner tends to run that for more pressure, more spell casting, etc., etc. Since they're always running blue, and then they get 5% from their 3.75% or 5% depending on their mastery, 15% from cooldown per level, so that's about 18 to 20 depending on the mastery, like I said. And then if you get blue, that's 30. And then if you choose to buy a 10% CDR item or a 20% CDR item, doesn't really matter. If you buy a 20% CDR item such as Morelos, which is pretty standard on Ahri, sometimes Fiends if you're under pressure in lane, in this case it would be better for you to purchase a Morelos because they have a Renekton who relies on healing. They have a an AD carry, you know, that's natural to heal. Echoed also heals, so you can cut that in half. So Morelos is the better choice. That's 20% CDR plus 15% from your runes. If you run cooldown per level, that's 35. You get blue, you have max. If you don't have blue, just masteries alone gives you max. So you're pretty much set on casting spells constantly. Since Ahri's pretty good, and this is why you also max charm second in this theoretical matchup. So you know you constantly throw charms out, and eventually one of them will hit, and then kaboom, you win a fight. So let's see how this plays out. Yeah, that's like the standard page for like all mid laners now. I go on this one, like this right here. See, 7.8, and then 50% CDR, and then the cost for magic resist runes, I think it's 410 for flat, right? So it's like 410 for cooldown reduction per level too, and then this one's like 410 also. So
Okay.
they're like the same price. It's just health per level is just generally better because it kind of like scales and like it helps you survive burst. That's what people put it in. It's just
Do you still take the magic pen marks and
yeah.
ability?
You never change the magic pen marks, never, unless you go hybrid pen. But that doesn't really change much, to be honest. More magic pen is better. You're a mage. You don't go like physical damage or hybrid pen because the armor penetration part outweighs the magic penetration part, so that's not as good. And physical damage is just a no-brainer because what in what name would you use the physical damage, you know? So make sure you have the Feast Mastery too, just like regular AD carry, you should have the Feast Mastery. Why is this a thing? Yeah, why is that a thing? He's not the jungler, that's not the thing. So the standard start for that is, if he's gonna do dumb shit like that, he should have at least asked for a double jungle job. Yeah, so this level 2, this is a solo lane. So now level 2 power spiking is different. You do have, it exists for you. Oh jeez. It exists for you, but it's different on how you approach it. Good. So you're constantly casting Qs to try to hit level 2 sooner. As soon as you kill that minion, you hit charm. Yeah. So you get charm, and then yeah, that's a level 2 right there. And then he does the same thing. It's 7 minions to level 2. So the issue here is that the Qs, the second Q in particular, it was for harass rather than for actual pressuring on the lane. You see, he's melee, right? So you don't have to throw your spells out to actually harass him. You can, but it's going to cost mana, and do you think it's going to be worth it? The question is whether or not you can get autos off. If you auto, you know, your minions are going to aggro. His minions are going to aggro on you. If you cast a spell, the minions aren't going to aggro on you as long as you don't auto in between. The most effective form of harass against this Echo, since he is melee and you are ranged, is just your auto attack. And you just have to be able to know how to micromanage in between both of them. See, this right here, I mean, you don't lose any last hits, which is pretty cool, but in theory, he's just walking out of position here, so you can just auto attack him like without problem. See, these minions don't even go on you because you're out of range. Like, they technically have to be within auto range or some form of like weird algorithm, because like they have like some kind of range in which, oh, you're stepping in my auto range and you hit him at the same time, then they'll aggro you. But since you're outside, you know, autos would be free. Like, you can still freely auto him like no matter what happens because he's melee. But the whole point is you want to hit level 2 as fast as possible. So what I would have done is I would have aimed your Q down towards those two. The free harass is fine, but I mean, he's not going to burn a pot. Plus he has this many pots and you only have 2, right? So he has basically 6 health pots, 3 mana pots, whereas you have 2 health pots. Biscuit doesn't really matter. I mean, it's only like 40 bonus healing, which is like a third of an extra potion. So you have 2.33 potions, whereas he has 6 full potions. And that's I mean, the harass, it's not that the harass is pointless, but it means you're gonna have to expend so much more of your mana just to try to burn his potions. He's gonna burn a flash stack now. Now he's just gonna sustain up. In reality, he would just have a normal player would have just burned a regular health pot, but Flask is super cost efficient, so burning Flask stacks isn't your goal. You want to burn his actual health pots. This is a little too much. Oh, okay, never mind. You might be able to kill him, actually. See, because these minions are on you. Okay, he's just playing it so poorly. Jesus. Good. The Feast Mastery came in handy. And then you didn't pop your potion during the trade, so like if you popped it before, you would get the full benefit of the healing, so you guaranteed would have survived. You know, because the 20 extra HP was cut in half, so it's 10, which allows you to survive 1 extra tick, I guess. But yeah, okay, that too. Yeah. So first things first is this engage was a little much. Like I wouldn't do it. The reason why you don't have to engage on it, I mean, it's a level 3 power spike. This is cool. Like, well, what you're doing is you're gonna capitalize on the fact that you're level 3, which is good. But okay, the return damage actually did hit. Like, his positioning is so weird. He actually wants to play safe. Like, it's okay to be this aggressive, but look at your mana, you know, because you expended a lot more mana harassing him early. You kind of lose this other mana. Remember what I said down in bot lane, which applies to every single lane. Keep your mana above 50% unless it's a critical situation, and when a critical situation like this shit right here occurs, you know, you'll have that mana to use. So right now you're a little above 50%. That's okay. But then when this starts to happen, when you're all inning him, this isn't really a critical situation. It's more of like you're just all inning him because you see an opportunity to kill him, which is cool. This Q is right here is really awkward. The parallel convergence was also well placed. Like, he's hovering around here to keep you in the area. So, you can't stay in one spot for a long time. That's Echo's thing. Now you're under 50% mana, so you don't want to stay in lane when you're low on this mana. And because, wait for it. Well, you know what's gonna happen, because yeah. And then this Q is also pointless. Like, I don't know what that was for, but you Q gives you move speed, so you can run away faster. And then you can also choose to push the lane, because you push the lane to tower, and Nocturne's gonna last hit it, which means that he gets ahead, but Echo falls farther behind because Nocturne's stealing all his golden EXP. But what should have happened here was, if we let's go back to it. So let's ignore the fact that you chose to all in. So because normally it's okay to not all in, but if you do choose to all in, you have to do it right. You also didn't ward here early, because right after he the route that Jax has taken is the half clear and then gank, which means that the time you should ward should be when he approaches river, because if he clears half, that would mean that by the time he does these two camps, then goes and finishes the wolves, and then enters the river, Nocturne will likely be on the other side, and since he's a fast clearer, he might have just finished his blue, and he will perform a gank soon. So the right time to ward is right before you all in. Because if you decide to all in, and he's like, okay, so Nocturne's not going to gank me, this means that I have all the opportunity to all in. And you also don't know that Jax was actually going to commit to helping you or not, Because if you look at the map, he's busy doing the scuttle, which is pretty important on his jungle pathing. It grants him move speed. He probably might have wanted to gank bot and otherwise or invade, because he looks like he's going down to the path. But then he sees, oh shit, I think that's a free kill mid. Does he burn a summoner for you? It burns ignite. Yeah, he burned a summoner. So all these flashes come. You don't have to time his flash, because your flash will be up when his flash is up. But you want to telegraph to your jungler, like you don't have to time it, unless you actually didn't see it. You know what I mean? Like if you saw his flash come, then you would time it, but you don't have to time it. It's up to you if you want to time it or not. If you know you can all in him without flash, then it's important to time it. But yeah, Nocturne was supposed to come here. Like there's no gank potential top, there's no gank potential bot, and if he starts red, which every single jungler starts red. Oh, Nocturne Flash is actually important to time. He has no escape, so you can jump on him. Echo Flash isn't as important because, he has an escape and he can freeze stuff. And he can just dash and chrono shift. That makes everything so much harder for you to kill him. Doran Ring, okay, that's a good build. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that item build. But yeah, Knock Flash, Echo Flash. Echo less important than Knock. Knock more important because this jungler is more aggressive. But as soon as you have to look at your own jungler's pathing to know when to ward. So because paths are generally mirrored with one another because both junglers start at the same time. They might not finish at the same time, but it's around that 1 minute. Like the difference between both junglers' speed is not so slow that it's 1 full minute behind. Like fuck, Nocturne. If Nocturne could, there's no universe in which Nocturne clears half the map of the jungle, then clears blue, then ganks you. There's no way he could do that in 4 minutes. He would have to do the general standard path, which means by the time that Jax is finished with his path, Nocturne should be finished with his, and you should either ward a little bit before that or just right when he finishes his pathing. So that's important. That's the map awareness solo lane part. And this also applies to every other lane since we talked about this earlier. This applies to bot lane because in the bot lane, you know that the jungler has just finished his blue buff, and your jungler has just finished his red buff, so it's mirrored, so which means that they're on that side of the map, which means it's okay to not ward the lane, not ward the lane, but ward the rivers, because then he can also do the half clear then gank bottom. So around that time you just watch your jungler. So the right time to ward is basically the 3 minute mark, because then that's when every jungler decides, hey, I want to gank right now because I just finished my buffs and I'm looking for cash and looking to snowball the lane. Alright, your first build should be Will of the Ancients. No, Fiendish Codex. Blah. Towards the Morello Namicon. Okay. Boom. Yep, there's the ward. You want to place it here, because then Nocturne, I've discussed this in a bunch of them, but if you place it closer here, because it always reveals the bush, So what this does is when Nocturne gets in here, if he's standing right here, it gives him an ample opportunity to just walk up and gank you. Because what happens is when you're Nocturne, right? Like he's this big. Oh Jesus, he's He's this big, and his vision radius with the pink ward is this. With the Raptor buff is this big, right? So he'd have to move north more to find it. And at the same time, if he misses it down over here, he might walk back and it's like, wait, is that bush over there warded? You know, so if he enters this bush, most likely people enter to the middle of the bush, and with their vision radius, they might not. They'll get that pink ward trigger up. It gives you more time to run away if you're caught by the jungler. So,
Okay.
and placing it closer here means that if your Jax is actually smart enough to bait out wards, if your Jax is a good jungler who knows how to track enemy junglers, what he would do is he would just hop on the dude because Nocturne would have to be over here, like your ward is here. Nocturne would physically have to be on top of it to clear it. So Jax, being Jax, can just hop over onto him or the ward and stun him, and then you all in him. Whereas if you place it here, he cannot hop to Nocturne, who could be standing out here, here, or even hella crazy on the edge of this bush here, because that's too far of a distance to close. At the same time, he would, if he wants to desperately do it, he has to jump to the ward, and even then he still might not be able to jump onto the ward because it might be too far away because the game's weird. And then he might not be, and then Nocturne just like, oh, geez, easy, just backs off. And then you're too far, the distance between you and him is too far, so you guys can't follow, and then Echo starts backing up, or Echo collapses, and it's 2v1. Whereas if you pushed it here, you know, he has to commit, he basically has this little extra distance that they have to close from instead of being here to here, like that little bit of extra distance gives you and your jungler an opportunity to bait and capture and punish the dude. Even if he spell shields the jump, he can't spell shield the counter strike. Then that means he also can't spell shield your charm or your Q or your spirit fire, your W's. You know, so just placing it closer, you can actually bait people out, like Nocturne, for instance. And you always want to purchase one ward. If you have a trinket, you put it one here and put the other one there, and then that guarantees you safety pre-6. And then it's okay for you to freeze under tower, but your last standing abilities are kind of difficult under tower, so you might have to expend some mana for that. Otherwise, you can push it out. Knowing that your passive gives you healing every now and then, so just don't waste the healing part of it. And it always I think it always activates even if you're at full HP. I'm not sure. Yeah, it does. Rip. It's fine. I mean, you could just get it back.
Yeah.
Good thing with 2 Doran's Ring is that most people always buy 2 Doran's Rings, but okay. So yeah, so what an Echo tends to do with parallel convergence is they tend to shoot it, and they get out of vision and they tend to shoot it, and then they just walk back and try to get back into vision, and you have the last half second to see. Okay, right there. Wait, I'm gonna let this play through and see if you catch him first. Okay. Okay. Nice. Up. That's pretty bad. Knocked. Pretty good roam by Bard. He got a deep ward into. Like without this ward, you probably wouldn't kill them. So here's the thing: your Q, knowing that your Q is short range, like the one that when I was talking about, like I didn't think that Q would hit. So right here, this Q is actually pointless because he moves pretty fast right here. So what you can do is shoot it back.
For the speed up.
Huh?
I did for the speed up.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm actually about to tell you about that. So here's the thing.
Right, okay.
Wait for it. Okay, so he dashes, right? No, he doesn't. Hold up. What the fuck does he do to get move so fast?
It is passive.
His passive just grants him move speed, right?
Yeah.
No, he dashes on. Okay, he blinks onto Bard that closes the distance between him and Bard. Let me check what his passive actually does. I thought his passive gives him just like, I don't even know what his passive does. Heals him at 3 stacks, consumes to deal damage. Jesus. Move speed. Yeah, okay, so you're right, move speed. So what you can do right here, you do this when you recall at base too. Okay, so the orb for Q, this is a mechanic. Less of gameplay knowledge, but like literally a mechanic. The orb, as long as the orb is moving, the Q is moving, you gain move speed. So how do you make the Q last longer? Because what you're doing is you're throwing it forward, right? So what happens when you throw it forward is it'll go like this, and then when you're moving forward, when it goes like this, right, and then you're moving forward, you're gonna catch it sooner, which means that you lose the move speed. So you throw it backwards, because if you throw it backwards, it goes this way, but since you're moving forward because of the move speed, it takes longer to get back to you, which means you gain more move speed as you're traveling. You get it?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I fired it before the passive went off though, so I'm not sure if I was trying to hit it or not. I I can't tell.
Which one? The REQ?
Yeah.
Nice charm. Okay. So here's the thing. Like, I didn't expect that Q to hit like the first time I was watching it too, because look, like he's pretty far, and you know that your Q is pretty short. Yeah, your Q is pretty short range, and so. And it stops like right there, and then so you miss the potential kill. What you can do is they did this in an LCS game. Some dude was chasing with Ahri. I think it was Power Evil. He shot it backwards, then moved forward, and then finished them off with with a charm and an auto attack. So you could, like, regardless of what, you were gonna miss that Q. So so I don't know if you would know that you would miss that Q, because just picture it as it's pretty short ranged. So you shoot it backwards, you gain the move speed, you get up to him, then you charm him. So you would have been able to close the distance, like, sooner. Is what I'm trying to say. It's okay to shoot it backwards as long as you catch him. I mean, you know he didn't have flash, so you can catch him. The worst thing that he could do is hop over, but I think that has a set cooldown, so it's on cooldown slow. Cause he hopped on Bard. Good damage onto him. And then the other thing was the Bard roam. Very solid roam by Bard. I mean, he just landed hard CC. Worst thing that could have happened was soft CC. Charm him and run. I wouldn't fight him here. You're out of mana. You already popped the biscuit, so it's not active. He's not gonna have Chrono Shift. Why is he doing this? He just takes it for free. Yeah. So you ever, like, whenever they do these weird patterns, just pretend that a parallel convergence is gonna come on you. The worst thing that you can do is, stay on to him. You have to know when to back off. It's like you have a half a second reaction time, but it's enough. It's 40% slow. That's the worst thing. And at the same time, you also know that whenever he gets out of vision range, aka he just leaves the mid lane randomly, then comes back, he's probably tossing a parallel convergence. He did that once and you didn't fall for it. I saw you didn't fall for it. Like, the echoes tend to do that a lot. It's not the right play that you're supposed to do either. Like, you don't parallel convergence like that. You have to be completely out of vision. Like, you don't just walk out, then walk back in, then walk forward. It telegraphs it too much.
Mm.
Yeah, it's his kind. It's an echo thing. It's not like it's uncommon. It's just that, like, that's how you're supposed to do it. It's just that, like, it's been so common that it's like fucking pointless. If he just walks out of vision range, then come back, move far back. Try to move as far back or move to the left or right as possible. Just like pretend that, like, where would he shoot it, like that. See, he just came back, and it's like it's really telegraphed. And like there's a limit to its range, so you can definitely like see it coming. Jesus, he's just eating that for free. You can, okay. The Chrono Shift. I was gonna say you can all in him as long as you have mana, but not Luden's Echo primary. I would build the thing for the mana regen. Fiendish Codex and the Forbidden Idol. That's 1400 gold, which you actually do have enough for. Like just now though. The dragon has been slain. That's pretty good. So the thing with that is that the only reason you lost that trade was because you were out of mana, and a lot of it comes down to the manipulate. Yeah, like that. So you gain a lot more move speed when you're shooting it backwards. So you can do that when you're chasing, as long as you think your Q is not going to connect, of course. Like you can't just do that every time. Like, lol, look at this free move speed. No. It's for chasing. Because you're going to land your charm, then throw your next Q on his face. Also, they have no flash. That also helps, too. Your auto attacks do a lot of damage if you have the mastery. I don't see... I have to look at if you're doing it or not. Let's see. Nope, that doesn't count because there's no numbers. Yeah, you have the mastery. So your auto attacks will hurt. Just, don't spam auto attack. You can spam it when he's going for cannon. You could try to charm him when he's going for cannon. I mean, you can abuse this cannon lane mechanic. Junglers do it especially because nobody wants to lose the cannon, So everybody will right click on the cannon, and that's when a player is most vulnerable. Try to charm him then, because that's like, because him being melee, you take that into advantage, and then you just charm him, then you throw a Q, and then you stop. You don't have to go any further than that. Yeah, see, you don't have to commit so deep to these charms, because once you miss your charm, a lot of your damage is like mitigated, because like if they're hard CC'd with the charm, they can't avoid your Q. So therefore, if you miss your charm, well, there's a chance that you will miss your Q, unless they're bad like that. Jesus Christ, Jesus, like my God. Most people will tend to also throw both at the exact same time. Same thing with this ward. This one is just a different placement, because if Nocturne comes from this bottom side, he's still going to be able to see it sooner because as soon as he kills the raptors, he's just going to walk over there and he sees it and he just uses his raptor buff like right away. Jesus, what's with this fucking loading? Like, I mean, I'm downloading something, shit, but like, shouldn't be loading so obnoxiously like this. Let me just lower the quality down to like 480. This is less of your play, but it's also more of punishing his mistakes. I'm only worried because like this you can play this lane passively and still come out on top as long as you're ahead in farm. Ahri is an excellent farmer. Yeah, you're ahead by like 12. You're ahead by like 2 creep waves, which is a lot. 2 creep waves means that he has to spend a full minute power farming in mid lane, which is impossible to do. You can't power farm in mid lane. You also can't freeze mid lane properly either, because it's too small of a lane. It's too small of a lane to commit to make a freeze happen. You can come there. Actually, when you see that they're that low on HP, it's not worth it anymore. It's actually the reason why is because by the time you get there, do you think Jax will have like you have to look at the players themselves, like what can your players do it without you? And the answer is probably yes, because he has a lot of damage and he has a lot of chase potential. See, by the time you get there, it's like too late, you know? Like I can see that it's just coming and then it's like too late. Jesus, what the fuck, man? Like God. All right, let's get back to this. If anything, what you can do is you can actually put, because Echo's wave clear is slower than is equal to yours in speed, sometimes slower depending on how much AP you have. You rush the AP item. So what you want to do before you roam is you want to push the lane all the way to his tower, then you roam. It puts him under more pressure. They'll just you can't like the rule is you cannot just push the lane, because if you just push the lane, he can freeze it under his tower at a certain point. The freeze will break fast, but he can still accumulate, you know, all the CS he was down. He was down only like 10 CS. He can catch that up if he froze it for a brief moment. Like that's at most what he can do. And then if you check his CS, he pushed it towards your tower, which kind of exerts a little bit of pressure onto you. And since you don't have ults, you might be pressured by him. Shouldn't be too big of a deal. I mean, you're like right under tower right now. You can't freeze under tower because it's Ahri. You have to use your abilities to last hit. Okay. I thought you were gonna W that, to be honest. Forgot that, you know, like your animation has a pretty good delay. Right, here comes the wave. Wait for all of it to show up, then Q it. Be careful not to kill anybody while you're queuing it. Okay, good. Yes. See, it's super common as a trend for it to happen. And you punish his mistakes. See, he's going for the cannon. Good. Yeah, this is where your ult would come in handy, technically. But he's not here, so you can charm him as soon as he goes for that. Okay, good. Yep, he's dead. Good. Ward it. Ward the bush before you... ward the bush. Ward over the wall, if anything. Okay. Yeah, warding the bush would have mean you didn't have to like physically face check the bush in order to get onto him. Also, Ignite grants you vision, but I think, did they Ignite like run out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. I was like, something's wrong. You should either have vision or you should be able to get him, but yeah. So you notice her mana problems, right? Like these come out. This is why I meant to say, you know, you can get that Fiendish Codex or Fiendish Codex into your Morelos first, because that little bit of mana regen is helpful, but also it cuts his healing in half. So it's like an innate ignite in itself. Now Ludens isn't the wrong choice. It's just that you do build Ludens. It's super good and it helps your wave clearing abilities like immensely. You just build it after you build Morelos. If you're building it first, you usually build it first if you're snowballing, because then you're bursting so heavily that when you roam and the move speed that you get from it, the innate move speed that it gives, it's just so good that it outweighs what Morelos does, which is cut healing in half. The reason why you want to get the Morelos first in this situation is because it's Echo. You know, you want to cut his healing in half if you don't have Ignite. And even if you do Ignite him, you know, if Ignite runs out, like it did in that battle right there, Jesus. Okay, good. The parallel convergence, I think you could have dodged it, like just by your walking alone, not the third proc of ulti. Lol. Yeah, but once you already used it, yeah, you used it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just once you do it, you can't really prevent it from happening. I think you could have dodged the parallel convergence. Like I believe you could do that. So the charm there was kind of wild. You know that he has to catch his axe, so you can charm his axe spot. That's like the benefit of playing against the Draven. Pop your okay, never mind. You already did. Pop both of them, in fact. You want to stay safe here. Reason being, okay, never mind. Echo showed himself, and then Nocturne. Nocturne also has showed himself. They're both at top lane. You don't know if Nocturne has ult or not. You know, don't know if he has enough cooldown for it to come back. So you want to play as safe as possible. Because if he just ults in, he can just spell shield. You can't charm him. You know, and if you W, you might run out of mana. Or if you Q, you might also run out of mana. So it's kind of risky to actually go forward. Plus, Renekton could also TP from a flank ward that you don't know has been placed because your jungler hasn't appeared on the left side of the jungle for quite some time. So you can just TP in the back. Or how they could just fucking flash dive you. Like, they can actually do that. And you don't know if it's going to happen. So you don't want to overextend yourself when you're low on mana, low on HP. Especially as an Ahri. Because if you don't have your ult, you know, you're kind of screwed. Your ping just jumped up from 24 to 34, unless it's always been 34.
I don't know, I guess it jumps sometimes.
It's kind of weird.
I don't really notice it though.
Okay, so it is Ludens, okay. You have the option to switch between Sleeper or Greater Warding Trinket, the yellow one. It's your choice. Depends on how you're playing the game. If you have enough room for wards, you just usually buy wards and just get the Sweeper Trinket to control the map. Because Ahri's a roamer, it's better to do just buy wards instead of getting the warding trinket. Because I've always expressed how much value that is. But denying vision is just as good as having vision. Denying vision is almost greater because then you can you force them to drop more wards. Really, Blitz? That grab was like not even close, like not even like close at all. There's no way that Jesus Blitz, God, Battle Boss Blitzcrank, man, calls him so bad. All right, so here, okay, so here's the situation in which look at your bot lane. She's farming, right? So what do? You don't have to charm, like your Vayne is farming. Jax should also try to come mid if anything, but you have the ability to just Q and W a wave and it's gone. So you just constantly wave clear, and they cannot do anything, and they're eventually forced to we want this tower, we gotta stop this Vayne from farming, or they might make a play on Vayne if she's not power farming right now. If you keep just doing that, you're not technically doing nothing, you're just preventing people from leaving, you're preventing them from sieging. As long as you kill the creep waves, you should probably, oh jeez, never mind. So what I was gonna say is you want to charm the Renekton so you can stop him from going all in on the Bard. And this is the thing, when your support gets caught like this, you know, pretend this was the Thresh and the Lux thing from the game we talked about earlier today. You know, that becomes an issue. Because now they can try to siege an objective or kill Vayne, and there's no vision over there, so it makes a bigger problem for you. Since there's no vision over there, lean towards the left more. You wanna lean towards this like a little bit closer towards this wall, because then if they come out from this bush to try to collapse on you, it's harder for them to catch on you. Because you have no vision on, yeah, there you go. Plus, if you were leaning on this part more, all you have to do is just walk back a little bit and you're set, you know? Yeah, I had a feeling like this parallel conversion is just going to come. You kind of always have to be ready for it when he gets out of vision. But also, when a Blitzcrank comes, he's going to take too long to get over there. And okay, this is going to be bad if you don't have vision over there. Really risky to grab that. Blitzcrank might be waiting over there to, okay, never mind, he just killed Vayne, so he's a bot. You see that little animation down there? That was a ward signification. So that side is definitely warded. Yep. I think if you just boot to the left more, you would have been okay. Alright. So now you just have to keep wave clearing. Alright. And they decided... See, this is what happened. So when Vayne dies, right? Because she pushed instead of sat and froze farm, that this gives the enemy team the right to just take this for free. And you can kind of contemplate this onto your own play. Lux... they weren't able to take that tower because you just kept farming. Because they have no threat of you just appearing out of nowhere as Vayne and just sieging them all. Plus wave clear efficiency. So the thing with your wave clearing is I'm only seeing you hit the melees and not the backline half the time. So sometimes you're not hitting the backline, sometimes you are. But if you want them to stop sieging, you gotta hit the backline too. Because the backline dies quicker than the front line when it comes to you queuing them. Probably just like a panic sometimes, but it's kind of, you have to do that as a mid laner. As long as you're clearing the waves, especially now that you have Ludens, you'll be able to, you'll be safe. Now, this Vayne is really greedy, and she's forcing herself to group in an attempt to try to help make picks or siege. That's not the right thing that she should be doing, because now Draven's just gonna get stronger and stronger. Wait for it. Okay. If anything, yeah. See, your wave clear just got immensely more powerful. And there's so little wards around the map. This is actually insane. As a mid laner, pink wards are like a must, but green wards are also there too. Okay. Yeah. So the thing with Noct is like you can't really prevent that. You don't know who he's going to go on. But what you can do instead is because you can't like because there's nobody there to back you up. Right now they're sieging top, and that's an okay call. But the thing that you should be doing is wave clearing. But you can't wave clear if it's not like some people when the wave comes they'll like wait in front of where the wave will meet them, and then they just shoot a skill shot that'll hit every single creep. The best thing to do is wait till the wave interacts with each other, or just let it push towards your tower, then clear it when it gets to your tower. Wow, 4-man Bartle for a perfect stall. Incredible. Wait, what? Oh, what? Oh my god, the Blitzcrank flash though. He stopped them. I mean, that's a pretty good stall. This is pretty awkward. Yep, good. Yeah, Morello's would come in handy here because a lot of them benefit from healing. Echo, Draven, Bard, Renekton. Blitzcrank doesn't. But it stops dangerous game, lol. Let's talk about roaming after this too. There's not a lot of times you can other than top lane win the roam. So right here, this is like where you met the wave. You see how it's like crashing towards your face. Instead, you can let it go a little bit further back because that's a safer way to clear the wave. And at the same time, not a lot of wards are being placed by you individually as a player, other than your trinket wards. My mid laner for my team had this problem too. He just doesn't. He uses pure like animal instinct to know where people are. Plus, I tell him, I feed him information, like I said, of where the jungler is or anything like this. Is a crazy call. There's no signification in which Baron should be called right now, and this is where you would get your. By the way, this is where you get your sweeper to come in handy because you sweep on top of it. Somebody should have swept on top of it to guarantee this call. This is an insane call, and I cannot believe this worked. Here's the thing: you shouldn't be here. Like you should not be damaging them in the pit. Anyway, let's just see how this plays out. And I'll show you why. I'll tell you why in a bit. I've kind of discussed it briefly. Oh my god. Well, you can't really kill him right there. Oh, that stun. It's Bard's MVP. Seriously, no, that stun is pretty fucking hard to land. I don't play Bard, but I've seen how hard it is to land the stun. Like Jesus. Okay, so what you could have been doing is because you don't really deal that much damage individually as a player to Baron as compared to Jax and Vayne, who have every third hit dealing boom boom damage, right? And Rengar too, who is AD, and his AD burst is a lot higher than what you can present as an AP threat, right? So what you could do instead is walk towards these chokes and just wait. You can enter the bush right here, which is pinked, I believe. I can't tell on the map where Blitzcrank is. Like right now, you see where they are. You stand there, right? And if they come and dare to cross, you charm them and you start bursting them. This creates an opportunity for you to zone out 2 players, maybe 3 to 5, maybe 5. All 5 players are completely zoned out by you alone. Reginald did this in a TSM game where he just zoned, it was an MVP call. Basically, he just controlled the area and he prevented anybody from coming towards the Baron while his team was doing Baron. They sieged the Baron for his death, and they got 4 people with the Baron buff. So you could die for it, or you can, your Ahri, you can just play safe. You can safely defend it because you have your ult and you have flash. You can zone 3 people out. You can't prevent people from walking from this side because if you want to prevent zone two on 2 fronts at the same time, you'd have to be here. But if you want to zone more people that are coming from one side, you'd have to give up this side. And it's only Renekton that we can see so far right now. But you would be zoning 2, maybe 3 people. Okay, so you zone 2 people at max, potentially 3 if another person comes. But you can at least guarantee that you prevent them from entering and stopping your team from doing Baron. Okay, Draven was on that side, so he's a bigger threat. As long as you're preventing them from doing, because that's what mages typically do. The best one example is Orianna, because she can actually zone 2 fronts at the same time. She just drops her ball in one area, then moves it to another area, and then she's just set. Whereas Ahri can charm one side and Q the other, but she can't charm both. She doesn't have a hard CC to lock them down or soft CC to lock them down. So instead, what you can do is you can just zone one area out completely. Bard can zone out the other, but he's Bard versus like Thresh. Thresh can zone, but Bard can't because it's harder for Bard to zone than Thresh can zone. And he can definitely zone as a support, for instance. Only certain ones can do it. some frontline supports also can do it. Like Leona can't because she stuns, but like she puts herself at risk. Whereas Braum could do it because he just presses E and blocks all particle skill shots from coming in and Qs people and ults the area to prevent them from coming in, etc., etc. So it's kind of situational. But for as a mid lane, you can guarantee that you zone out at least one area, at least minimum. Some can only zone one, which is hitting the minimum, but not any mid lane can zone out 0. Like for example, AD mids are a different circumstance because they're hitting the Baron instead of actually zoning. They could zone, but they could also hit Baron, which helps kill Baron faster. Jace, for instance, can zone out from one area because he just shock blasts whoever crosses it, then while at the same time hitting Baron, so that's a pretty benefit. But you should be able to zone out the people so you can prevent them from stealing Baron. It increases your chance of getting Baron, and at the same time, maximizes your role. Plus, you can also get free kills because if you actually do it right, you can kill that Blitzcrank, or you can prevent, or you can burn his flash or something. You'll always you don't lose anything from zoning them. I mean, you get Baron unless they actually like flash steal it or some shit like that, like with the 9999 crit or some shit that outweighs a Smite and like a Vayne and a Jax and a Rengar. Like, how the fuck do you actually outweigh a Jax, Vayne, and a Rengar and a Bard from with a fucking Smite unless you're like 3 levels ahead of the jungler or some shit? Jesus. A lot of wards not being placed by you, so that's a big thing. Potions are great. I mean, they're there. It's just that during team fights or anything, I don't see you pop them as often. I mean, you do it. It's kind of there. I just want to see it if it applies here. I can't talk much about roaming until after, so. Okay. I kind of briefly discussed it though, because roaming is a huge aspect of Ahri's gameplay knowledge. Why she's a great hard carry and why Elo boosters tend to play her if they don't have LeBlanc is because her mobility is like unmatchable aside from like LeBlanc. But even LeBlanc can only move twice, whereas Ahri can move 3 times plus flash. So that's 4 times. LeBlanc can only go 3 times with W, then ult, which sacrifices some of her damage, then flash, of course. That's 3 compared to your 4. Then this is a pressure wave. You can clear it. Man, most of these like waves that are being pushed, if it's Vayne not clearing them, you can clear them too. You want to wait for all of them to appear. Parallel convergence might be coming soon. Never mind. Look on your left. On your left, Jax is under attack. Scout to see if he's okay. Then scout back to your face. Just press F3. Check if he's okay. Press space. Kind of get into the habit of scouting your allies, because that's what makes roaming so efficient. Your map control, your map awareness. If you don't click the map, you don't have to click the map, by the way. You can just press F2, F3, F4, F5. That's why I organize my lanes when I press tab. I organize it by top, mid, support, and jungle. That's why I said press the certain F command. And it's like Vayne is F2, Jax is F3. Since he's jungler, he should be F3 because top is F2. Etc., etc. You press these keys and then you check where they're standing at the map. You look at their mana, you look at their HP. You ask yourself, if I roamed and he did his combos and stuff, do you think we have enough damage? Do you think I can get there in time? Etc., etc. You have 20% CDR, Sork Pen. Masteries give you 5, so maximum you have 25. If not 25, 23.75, which is basically 24, which you have 24. Then blue buff gives you 34, so that's almost max CDR, which is great. That is what's supposed to happen. With cooldown per level, though, you get max CDR cap sooner. Good. Okay. No, it's good. It's good for all mid laners, like Ori especially. Those that cast spells a lot. I mean, naturally, you just cast more spells. Reason why, aside from the fact that Xerath, long range champion, he is good because if you have max CDR and you have blue buff and a Morellonomicon and like Ludens, you basically have infinite siege potential as long as your team is right behind you. You clear the wave, it's all gone. Your minions ram into their tower, and you just poke them down constantly. So the same thing can apply with you. You just queue the wave, wipe it down, ram the enemy creep waves into their tower, like this, yes, and then just throw a charm and hope that it lands, or accurately, precision charm. Land it, then they kill the guy, then your siege chance increases because you have a mana advantage. That's why some mages are dangerous. Orianna just has to use a few spells, clear the wave, then rip a perfect shockwave, and then she's good. Ziggs, well, if you catch him out of position, you kind of just pop that little bomb thing, and then hope that they fly backwards to you, and yeah, you got him. But your team can definitely make picks. If it's not you initiating, like I said, someone else will initiate. Or if it's not, and if it's not like, if it's not them initiating, then you initiate. Just lining up a perfect charm is like right now. Here's a perfect example of siege. The other way to initiate is by getting caught, but you have to also be able to have Zanyas ready for that. If you get caught, you got to Zanyas immediately. I just spam that fucking button. You wouldn't want to fight without Zanyas in this circumstance. The reason being, oh my god, the reason being, if you get caught by Blitzcrank, if you specifically get caught by Blitzcrank and you don't ult because he's gonna knock you up or silence you after, you gotta use your Zanyas. Move to the left. Okay, never mind. He actually fucking wide ass hitbox. 1, 2, 3. Wow. Can't believe the Blade of the Ruin King got on you. The Q was pretty good. He flashed on you? Serious? Was that a flash?
I'm not
It's
sure.
hard to tell. It's actually hard to tell because it's red. Oh, so close. If he landed that, that'd spell trouble for the red team. Regardless, it does spell trouble for the red team. Are you getting carried? Oh my god, you got oh, somebody left. Ah, got it. I'm like, are you getting carried? Something's wrong here. It's like, oh Jesus. All right, no, Draven was pretty big. Jesus Christ, I'm like something's wrong here. This video is oddly short for it. It's like, are you getting carried? It's like, yeah, you got carried. Jesus. All right, so let's talk about aside from the early laning phase and punishing his mistakes. So at the beginning, this Q here, wait for it. Okay, that works too. Okay, that Q there will kill this, but it's not gonna hurt this. The sooner you hit level 2, the stronger you become. Because like mages need as many levels as they can. Because when you hit level 2, you have a full ability ahead of him. It's harder than 80 carry. It's harder than bot lane snowballing because there's 2 abilities at the enemy's disposal compared to 4. So the number advantage of abilities plus base stats plus knowing the damage that they have, it exists. What you can do here as a mid laner is different from what you can do as an AD carry, because when you hit level 2 compared to the mid laner's level 1, what happens is you have 2 abilities compared to their 1, and then you have to measure in potions versus your potions. What you do is you chunk the dude down, because you're not going to kill him with just a charm Q auto, right? Auto charm, or charm auto Q auto, whatever. Just as long as you get a few autos in there and your charm and Q combo, you're not gonna kill him. Like, you're gonna get him low, which forces him to burn pots. And if you just keep repeating it, you're gonna prevent him from playing aggro or trying to CS. He's gonna have to waste mana like this in order to try to last hit. And if he's wasting mana to last hit, he's not gonna be able to hit you. So you just keep charming and all-inning him. But the thing is, this backline wasn't hit, so that's a big issue. You're forced to hit, melee creeps, so that kind of skewers your ability to level up. At the same time, Echo isn't the best at last hitting under tower. Like, not a lot of mages are in general. I don't think he is, at least. He shouldn't be able to last hit under tower very well. So by pushing it early, you pressure them. I mean, you at level 1, you can't last hit under tower with Ahri without burning a shit ton of spells and probably missing a few CS, right? Like, that's the general law. Oh my god. And then with Echo, it's no different. So by pushing him early, by hitting all six creeps early, you increase your chances of hitting level 2 before your opponent, because it's harder for him to hit level 2 before you, because he's melee, and the fact that you're ranged, you just abuse that. And see, right now he's full on HP, so you don't have to harass him. Instead, you can just push the wave, then harass him when there's no creeps. Because if he tries trading back with you, you're just going to have a creep wave advantage. And then right here, because of the all-in, you probably wouldn't have survived. Because the minions were on you a lot as you were trading with him, and your minions weren't in range to see that you were being attacked, so they didn't go on him. Plus, he has a shield to trade, whereas your healing, you can't really rely on Ahri's heal, This Q was bad, because that. Yeah. Like, you also didn't hit anything with it either. And then, aside from that, Doran's Ring's fine, Boots is fine, gotta get some wards. Standard is do purchase wards. 1 ward, 2 pots almost every back, and make sure you use your pots. Pink ward, if anything, to place it in the try right here, because then this scouts so that ward down there, if your support hasn't warded it, you ward it, because then it scouts for if your jungler is gonna if the enemy jungler is gonna gank from raptors to mid, or if the enemy jungler is gonna go to clear the crab, or if the enemy jungler wants to slow the dragon, or if he's heading bot. Like, all these things are discovered if you place a ward down in the isolated bush down in river. And then roaming, as soon as you hit 6, you can recall and then roam down a bot. Or you can just push the wave, hope that you have enough statistics, like your base stats, HP, mana, are okay enough for you to perform a perfect roam with everything you got. but you have to push the lane before you roam because then it makes the lane more pressurizing. Because then an enemy mid laner would punish you if the lane is in the middle, because all they have to do is kill the wave, then go up to your tower, and then whack your tower. If he's at his own tower, he'd have to kill the creeps carefully because he has the last hit under tower, which means that you have ample opportunity to gain distance from point A to point B. Then he kills that wave, then he walks up and another creep wave would be built, because by that time he kills all the creeps, the next creep wave will have probably arrived. Then the lane is somewhere in the middle, maybe a little bit past the middle. Then he has to clear that wave without missing a single last hit. Then he's at your tower, and by that time you've already reached bottom. But if you put it at middle, he's in it's like 3 stages: at the tower, in the middle of the lane, then at your tower. Basically, if you don't push the lane before you roam, it's kind of like you skip stage 1, just enter stage 2, which makes him punish you. You get it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what you can do, and that's why most people, in fact, if not all people, push before they decide to roam. And then seeing roams, aside from the fact that you have to look at if kill potential could be taken by you as a player. Echo. So like you don't like some mid laners don't even need to roam. They just win their lane in general, and then like that alone exerts pressure, because then you're relieving pressure from other lanes. In this case, it looks like you do have to roam somewhere, and if that somewhere is going to be determined, it's going to be either top or bottom. Well, you don't need to roam into the enemy jungle to kill the jungler, because that's also a third option. Top or bottom seems to be right. The more likely option is bottom than top, because Renekton will naturally fall off unless he builds like a perfect mix of damage and stuff. But usually Rengar versus Renekton generally wins, and then Rengar wins after a certain period of time. He's also farming safely under tower. That signifies that it's possible for you to gank him, but not always, because he has double dash. What does Blitzcrank have? He has a W. What does Draven have? A W and an E. How can you catch up to them? You press your ulti. How can Renekton... The problem with Renekton is that he has 2 dashes, whereas you have 3, and a flash if you have flash. But it puts you at risk, because you might have to burn 2 dashes to catch up to his double dash, which comes up sooner than your ult, you know? And then and his dash has no delay, so he can just go dash, dash. Whereas yours is dash, wait, dash, you know? His delay is shorter, so he gains a lot more distance than you can gain, even if you're trying to cut him off. So it's harder to pull off a gank in top than it is in bot lane. The reason why it's harder to pull off a gank in top is because the lane just seems so much farther away, and then like you don't always have a person who will have hard CC. Rengar doesn't have hard CC unless he gets 5 empowered stacks. Then he has to land the snare without missing, and it's kind of a big risk, because the thing is, like I said, he can miss. Whereas in bot lane, same thing applies, that he can definitely miss, but you have 2 targets to hit as opposed to 1 single target. If you miss your charm on Draven, it might stray off and hit Blitzcrank or something. But you have 2 targets to focus, because not all targets will, not all bot laners when getting ganked move as a unit. Sometimes they just split up, whereas the support will move faster than the AD carry, and then the AD carry is left alone. Then everybody just turns on the AD carry. Ah, my neck. All right. And then right here, see the amount of HP he has, and then like Jackson, knowing that you know that Jax has a gap closer, then he just performed it, guarantees that the kill will be taken, so you don't need to go up top. And as a price for this, you do push the lane, which is great because it denies the enemy CS, but your lane in response is getting pushed. And it's okay for you to call for the tower, but if they don't want the tower, which means that they're opting for a heavy farm-based strategy against Renekton, who sucks at responding to threats like this, it's okay for you to just back up, because what happens is Renekton takes a longer period of time to clear waves. So if someone decides to proxy, they can make a play off of that. That's why Singes know how to proxy. Anyway, pop, auto. Bot lane also seems like the most likely to be able to roam, but the best way to maximize your roam, aside from having Sork Pen boots beforehand, is also to have Sweeper, because then you can clear wards on your way down. You check the bush you check like the river bush. If that's not warded, you're just free gank. Just ulti, flash charm, or just charm something, and you're set. Dope. Also, another thing, you need blue. Like, you have to have blue. It makes your wave clearing a lot faster, because the thing is, with the amount of mana that you expend, how much like do you desperately want blue, and how much do you think you benefit from blue, right? Like you've seen like how much, like look how close, like look, you barely have enough mana to kill him, you know? Like if you actually casted one more Q to clear a creep wave earlier, you probably would not have enough mana to cast that Spirit Fire or an extra charm or something like that. So, you know, blue is super essential to your roams. If you have blue and then you push your, and then you go back to your lane, you push your lane, and you see a roam opportunity and you roam and you still have that blue on you, you're so strong. So much pressure from just that alone. Just by pushing, because when you're pushing the lane, right, let's say it takes 2 Qs. Well, with blue, you could recover the mana for 1 Q by the time you go down to bot. If you didn't have blue, you probably would have only recovered half, and then, you know, that half mana does make a difference.
You can't really force your jungler to give you blue though, which is
Correct.
like when you have
Yes.
a selfish jungler.
Yes, yeah. This
sucks.
isn't Korea where they always give you blue because that's how they because they know how to play the game. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. But yeah, you need blue. You can ask for it. You can't force him to do it. If he obliges, it's great. But yeah, you ask if you can have blue, so it's okay. You also can't call for ganks half the time. Like I kind of get in the habit of like. The thing with some mid laners that like gank is open because like they have hard CC forms that are easy to land because it's point and click versus skill shot based hard CC. See, the thing with Jax is that he can actually miss his stun because how he misses his stun is he turns it on too soon, and B, his leap range isn't, he doesn't get in range to leap to the target and might have to burn flash. So that's how he can miss his stun. So he has a chance to miss. Champions like TF, you know, he has a point and click stun, so he just has to lock it in, then jump on the dude, and then stun him, so then Jax can instantly get the stun off. You have a chance to miss your charm. It happens. So therefore, you know, it's harder for you to call for ganks because you have a chance to miss. People like Ahri, you know, point and click, people like Vi, point and click ult, they can gank whatever lane they want. If they want to snowball you, just presses R, and then you instantly land your charm QW combo, and you burst the target down. There's no difference in that. So you can call for ganks if you have a mid laner that's point and click. Annie is a good example of that. Flash Tibbers, you can't really miss that because you're right on top of the dude once you flash on him. Or even if you don't have Flash Tibber, if you have three stacks on your Q, then you just QE them. That's a stun right there, and then you're basically set. And it's like all that is pretty easy to coordinate. Jax has a chance. Like if both players have a chance to miss, try not to call for ganks too much unless you're desperately far behind. Right now in this situation, you're not that far behind, but you're not ahead either. So individually, you could just focus yourself on getting items and let your team do some work, because everybody just goes mid at some point in the game. Like it's because it's like the fastest lane. You know, everybody just goes mid. Like they're not all just gonna ram top forever. Eventually, they'll have to go mid. So you know, you can just farm mid and eventually just like keep wave clearing. And then, of course, with the wave clear thing I said earlier, make sure you hit the entire creep wave rather than just part of it, because the entire creep wave gets wrecked. You showed it. It shows like right there. It's not. That was not an efficient Q, for instance. You could have just hit like 1 or 2 more minions. Right, those two right there. Mostly the one on the left, because then that makes it so that you can kill this tower faster. Ahri is an excellent pusher and roamer. Only thing. Okay, yeah. That was there. Charm is awkward too, but like immediately after, you would have just followed your combo if you did it. So I mean, there's nothing would have changed. Well, okay, you would have done a lot of damage actually. And then as for builds, Morello's is good because it's early game presence plus the cooldown plus the mana regen is super helpful. I mean, Luden's gives 100 and Morello's gives 80, but Luden's gives move speed, whereas the thing gives a cut in healing if you damage them, which prevents people from, you know, healing effectively if you don't have ignite on them. So if you can ignite one target, it's as if you ignited two others at the same time. It's really good. And then,
Does that work on Echo's ult?
If ignite works on Echo's ult, then yes, it works on Echo's ult as long as he's under 40% HP. Then he'll pop his ult, then he gets like cut in half healing. Unless when Echo casts ult, he removes all disables. You know, if he removes all disables, then no, it doesn't work naturally. But if ignite is still on him after he uses Chrono Shift, I don't know if that actually does anything, but like, you know what I'm saying, right? Like if ignite is still on him after he uses Chrono Shift, so like let's say ignite ticks 4 times, 2 ticks pass, then he Chrono Shifts, then the other 2 ticks pass, then yes, Morello's will work on him because his healing is still cut in half. If it's like 2 ticks pass, then he Chrono Shifts and all the other ticks are removed, then no, Morello's won't. Morello's and general disables don't work on him like that. But I'm pretty sure it doesn't remove disables. Yeah, he arrives. He just becomes untargetable. So he probably blocks one of the ticks, but the thing still stays on him.
Grievous wounds.
Yeah, exactly. Ignite versus Echo ult. Yes. Okay. So he'll dodge the healing as he becomes untargetable, but he won't. He will still receive half the healing. He just dodges the ignite tick, so therefore Grievous Wound does stay on him. Okay. Because I'm pretty sure it doesn't just go away. Like he can't. He doesn't. It doesn't cleanse shit. Like if it cleansed stuff as he traveled back in time, that's broke. But he doesn't. So yeah. Also, a good. This is the more heavy, mega skill based. But like, if he starts to get low, look at where his chrono shift shit's gonna be. Then try to toss a skill shot there because he's gonna land there, or try to move away from it because it's gonna impact there. That Draven ult is seriously pretty good. Like 720 no scope. Wait, it came from like a right angle. That's weird. All right. Then yeah. If there were any other oh yeah, Zanya's. That's right. If you get caught, you just pop it as fast as possible. It's pretty good when it comes to defensive aspects because generally mages like eventually they do tend to get focused too because but also once their cooldowns are down, you know, they become very vulnerable. So Zanya's is like a 2.5 second delay, so that your cooldowns may come up, then you like charm them as soon as you come out of Zanya's. So the 3 core items after that, and then you get Death Cap and Void Staff, of course, the typical natural final items once you get your Morellos and Zanya's. And then some people tend to get Rylai's, some people also tend to get Leandries, some people are crazy enough to even get Roa. Roa definitely works on certain mages too, like Twisted Fate. I tested that in a game. Roa works so well with Twisted Fate, and it was a pretty good experiment. I don't know if Roa works effectively. I have to do testing on it on Ahri, of course, but yeah. Itemization is always dependent on the situation. Sometimes even Abyssal Scepter is a great option. If a good Ahri can get Abyssal Scepter because they know that they can roll, but not every single Ahri will get it, of course. You know, she's also, don't forget that she's not just an like a semi form of an assassin, but she's also utility. Because like I've seen a competitive match in Amateur League. Basically, Ahri as a mid laner, she did not get a single kill. She went 0-0-16. And I was like, what the fuck? Why did you, like, would you actually swap to playing support? And the answer was like, yeah, because the AD carry just took every single fucking kill. And the AD carry was the one who needed to be fed. So Ahri just decided, you know, I don't need kills. I could just get utility. And they just built, like, heavy defensive items rather than, like, big AP items and just focus on maxing or pressuring with the charm. And I was like, oh, that's actually pretty smart. So, you know, you can also, if you're like behind, but you still think, you truly think that you can come back from a deficit, focus on the from the utility defensive aspect of Ahri instead of the offensive aspect of her assassination. Because if you're behind, there's a chance that you might not be able to assassinate your opponents. So what do you do instead? Well, you can just charm your opponents and then everybody just focuses on that. It's called making a pick, and then you know that exists as a thing. So. That works.
You know how you said earlier did you say not to play TF, or did you say?
Well, you can play TF, but because I no longer there's only one way to, or there's not one way to play TF, but there's only one person who is a god at TF, and it's Apto, and like I haven't read into every single thing about Apto's TF, so. Because like I can coach it, but I will not coach it to the maximum potential. At the same time, he's also a hard champion to master because you know individually that takes it's way too high skill cap. It's like not even just not the skill shot part of it, but the fact that you play to not win your lane, but you still have to win other lanes. You know, so it's like you have to play so perfect if you want to master the champion, and it's like damn. You can play TF. I mean, there's never I'm not forbidding you from playing TF. It's just that it is extremely difficult for me to coach TF because I'm still in the process of analyzing how to properly master TF. Because it's not just like you just use mid lane mechanics. It's no longer just mid lane mechanics. It's actually like you have to know. This is the part where you have to know every single lane because it opens you up. Like, okay, if I gank the jungler with my jungler right now, where exactly will we come out on top, and etc. etc. And then it's like, how do I itemize against this guy? Because there's like different item builds, rune pages, and masteries for exact matchups too. So that's how it works. Like Apto runs exhaust versus all AD matchups, but he also does it. But sometimes he takes exhaust against AP matchups. Which ones? Sometimes he takes ignite. Sometimes he takes teleport. Why does he take teleport? What matchups does he ever take teleport in? What the fuck? He takes teleport against Victor and Azir because they constantly harass him. Matchups like LeBlanc too. Any matchups sometimes. And then how does he build against them? He builds Rod of Ages. He builds Abyssal Scepter. He builds Lichbane. When does he build Ludens? You know, all these things come to mind. And there's so many things to micromanage. What rune pages he uses too. He has 3 different rune pages. Why does he use this one instead of this one? Doesn't this one make efficient use of his cooldowns? No, it doesn't. And then masteries. Why does he run this page over this page? 2163 versus 2190 versus 2109 versus 9021. And it's like he has like so many ways to play TF. It's like, what the fuck? And then, like, why does he ult here? Why did he ult like that? What the fuck? And then, like, stuff like that, too. He ults weirdly. But his thing also comes in high elo, and it also comes in with perfect coordination. Because he tells the jungler to gank, then he leaves the lane, then he teleports back into the lane. And then the jungler comes in, and it's like, what the fuck? Why'd you do that? Why couldn't you just start a gank, like, right off? It's because it's a mind game, so you have to really know how to get into your opponent's heads and stuff like that, too.
What would you say is like the easiest champs to play mid?
What is the easy? Any.
Or like I don't play mid much. What would be the best
Any.
mid champs?
I recommend Annie in every elo. bronze all the way up to like diamond. Some dude hit challenger in Annie. I mean, shoot, right? He's
Also
both a
top
good player
lane.
and he's just abusing Annie in general. I mean, like just because Annie's just like a brain dead champion, but he develops his game knowledge really well, so he can't really hit challenger on other champions because his game knowledge is good, but his knowledge of the champion is bad, so it takes him longer to learn. But yeah, Annie is just point and
top lane.
click, just stun. You actually have to capitalize on positioning. So if you know from an AD carry sense where an AD carry would generally position, i.e. the back line, well, you flash onto the back line when they're open, and then kaboom. Patience. It teaches you patience, too. Because you can't just flash full combo someone early on Annie. You have to do it at the right time when they're most vulnerable. Maybe they just healed, then you flash boom them because then they have no way to heal. And you ignite them to guarantee that they die, etc., etc. But Annie, and the second one is Morgana. Morgana's pretty useful. Team fight wise, yes. Wave clear wise, hell yeah. She clears waves very well under tower. Annie, not so much. She will definitely teach you how to play aggressively. Lulu is a more skill cap based champion, but with your mechanics, I believe that you can pick up Lulu a little bit more effectively. The thing with Lulu is she is defensive, and she will teach you as a mid laner how not to kill. You don't have to kill with Lulu to win the lane. You just have to use your utility to its fullest. So it definitely teaches you the defensive aspect as well as using the best offense as defense. Or the best offense is your defense as mid lane Lulu. Whereas Annie would teach you is the best offense is offense, lol. And Ahri can teach you both. See? And Morgana can also teach you both. Best offense is defense and at the same time offense. And then
what about top lane? Like
best
best
easy
like
top. You can also play Morg. You can also play Morgan Annie top. There are people who do that. They do it in competitive too. I've done it myself. Morg top is a farm lane heavy thing. You TP down to bot lane and ult. God, that's so great. Don't play Lee Sin Riven. For instance, a good example would be. Oh, jeez, he actually just expected you to move to the left. Another good top laner is Renekton. He's kind of point and click. He teaches you how to abuse the early game. Annie and Morg teach you how to farm effectively without dying, because if you do it right, you don't die as you farm. Jax is okay, but he teaches you how to play towards the late game. You have to be really, really defensive in the early game because he kind of scales pretty poorly. Malphite teaches you how to time your teleports. Vladimir's okay. Another top laner that's pretty good. Not Hecarim. Hecarim's actually really complicated in the sense that you take different spells with him. And then Not really Akali, not really Nasus. Nasus just kind of screws your entire team over. Uh, that gives you like that gives you like a decent champion pool. If you're crazy enough, you can also play Vayne top, but that only works against specific matchups, and it doesn't work all the time because you sacrifice an entire tank. You sacrifice the threat of a top lane and the threat of having a tank, as well as teleport. You sacrifice too many things for a chance to cheese, and it's not worth it, to be honest. Quinn is a different story, but again, it's the same situation. The thing with Quinn is that she denies top laners. She can kill them, but it's mostly about the denial aspect of it. She can't really stop them. Well, she can stop them from teleporting too. Vayne can also do the same thing. It's just that you sacrifice too much. So Quinn Vayne is not really the best idea. A top laner you shouldn't play is like Irelia, for instance, because that's super high skill cap. Like, as you can tell, just by the way she plays, like just that HP percentage shit. You just have to like, you kind of have to eyeball it, and it's like, I think he's lower than me. Crap, it's a slow. He was higher than me. What? It makes no sense. And then yeah. As for jungle, fuck. Well, Pantheon, and that's it.
I'm fine in the I'm pretty strong in
Just avoid
bot
the
lane and
jungle, right? Just avoid the jungle, man. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Okay,
seriously,
I'm
no,
gonna
because
have to
like jungling is also one of my worst roles. But I play the higher skill cap junglers because I'm more confident on them. I.e. Nunu, because that's a high skill cap jungler because of the way that your team has to play around the Nunu and stuff.
I can play Lee Sin and Panth, and I can play jungle and bot lane very well, but
Not so much of the solo lanes, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm more of the solo. I'm more of like everything except jungle because I suck at jungle. So, yeah.
I'm gonna have to go to bed because it's late here. So
All right. Yeah.
Thanks.
This session will be up. Law Veggie, Facebook, Twitter, same shit. And I have to render the other two sessions and then upload them. They'll probably be up by tomorrow at best.
okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good. A lot of this was just heavily on roaming, farming, when to roam. The top lane thing is more of trusting your team, and then of course the mechanic, and of course mid lane mechanic on Ahri. You do it in your base, but you don't do it outside of base. You can put it into practice. I mean, like if you're chasing, you just throw it backwards. Just assuming that you will. And you have to know things like what you. It's both mechanics and gameplay. You know that they don't have flash, and you know that Echo just uses dash. Those things are on cooldown. So I can Q backwards, sacrifice the damage that the Q will do because it's not going to hit anyway, to gain the move speed necessary to catch up to him and charm him, then finish him off with the next Q because my Q comes up sooner than his flash or his dash will. And that's gameplay because you know that your opponent has cooldowns because that's a thing, and and it's a mechanic because that's you're literally just following what the Ahri's Q tells you. And yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thanks.
Yep.
See ya.
See ya.